HDFC.
In a few moments, the news.
A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 6:15. Here is the news, edited by Dulmin Samrasingha, read by Victor Raj. First, take a look at the headlines of the local news. Quarantine curfew imposed in Kuliapitiya, Pannala, Giriulla, Narammala and Dummalasuri police divisions. The debate on the 20th Amendment to the Constitution will be held tomorrow in Parliament. Sri Lankan and South Korean Prime Ministers hold discussions to strengthen bilateral relations. A nutrition sack will be provided to school students affected by quarantine curfew in Kampaha district. Foreign news. The UK plans to be first to run human COVID trials. Sports news. England, Canada and New Zealand confirmed as top seeds for the Women's 2021 Rugby World Cup. Local news in detail. Quarantine curfew has been imposed with immediate effect in Kuliapitiya, Pannala, Giriulla, Narammala and Dummalasuri police divisions. The National Centre to Prevent the Spread of COVID-19 says that the quarantine curfew is effective until further notice. Meanwhile, another 60 contacts of the Divulapitiya COVID cluster have been identified. The total number of Divulapitiya COVID cluster has increased to 2,222. It has been confirmed that 360 employees of the garment factory at Kahatuduva who were subjected to PCR tests have not been infected with the virus. Meanwhile, health authorities said that 53 infected persons have been reported from the Kaluthara district. 30 have been reported from Mathugama. Dompe Regional Hospital has been converted into a corona treatment centre. The number of COVID patients reported from Colombo Dockyard has increased to 18. 6 new infected persons have been found and they have been staying at a hostel at Blumenthal Road in Colombo. 2 provisions under the Sri Lanka Export Development Act were passed in Parliament today. A German debate was held today on human-elephant conflict. Thereafter, the Parliament was adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow. The debate on the 20th Amendment to the Constitution will be held tomorrow. Expressing his views during the debate on the 2 provisions of the Sri Lankan Export Development Act, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said that the government's program to limit imports and encourage exports is important for future economic development. MP Vijitha Herath requested about the concessions given to suppliers. MP Anupa Pasquale said that measures have been taken to provide facilities needed by the suppliers in the forthcoming budget. He said that an Ayurveda method will be introduced to control the coronavirus. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa presented the Appropriation Draft Bill 2021 in Parliament today. Minister Pavitra Anyarachi made a special explanation in Parliament today on tests conducted in the commencement of the Minuwangada Corona cluster. Prime Minister of South Korea Chung Se-kyon has called Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa this morning. The 2 leaders discussed a number of areas of mutual bilateral interest while expressing the desire to further enhance relations between the 2 countries. Prime Minister Chung said he looks forward to continue working with Sri Lanka to further strengthen bilateral relations. The 2 leaders also discussed further technical assistance for the Ocean University, for which the Korean International Cooperation Agency has already provided assistance. Other areas discussed included investment and tourism. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. a giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security. Call 0718 800 999. More local news. The program to provide a nutrition sack to 44,496 school children at Gampaha district affected by the quarantine curfew will commence tomorrow. Students of 245 schools in the district are eligible to receive the nutrition sack valued at 965 rupees. The government spends more than 40 million rupees in this regard. The inaugural ceremony will be held tomorrow at Minuwangoda, Vidiyawatha Sri Nagavanarame Primary School. Development of infrastructure at Mathili, Vilgamuwa, Himbiliyakada has commenced. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who visited the area at the beginning of this month, looked into the development activities in the area. The President looked into the problems of villagers in Gamburu Oya, Leidia, Liangala, Aliyavala and Veheragala areas. Solving problems related to land deeds at Hettipola town has commenced. Plans have been made to prepare 110 land deeds for lands utilized by the villagers in the Himbiliyakada village. Constructing of a new classroom building, housing for teachers and preparing the playground of Himbiliyakada Primary School is taking place with the assistance of the army. A water purification plant is being fixed at Nagavanarama temple. The army is making plans to renovate Wattegedara and Dodangola tanks which provide water to 2,000 acres of paddy. 10 cultivation wells were being constructed. Development of roads has commenced. A bus is operated from Hettipola to Himbiliyakada. All projects should be completed within 3 months. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force for Economic Revival and Poverty Alleviation, Basil Rajapaksa, says that the contribution of the Provincial Council is needed for the national program to uplift rural economy. He said that the government has no intention of importing any crops that can be cultivated in the country. He mentioned this during a discussion this morning at the temple trace with provincial governors and all provincial secretaries. The Court of Appeal is scheduled to announce tomorrow whether to issue a restraining order preventing the rearrest of Mr. Riyaj Baduddin, who is a brother of Mr. Rishad Baduddin. The Appeal Court Justice gave the order after considering a petition today submitted by Mr. Riyaj Baduddin. Court Magistrate Priyantha Liyanage ordered today to remand another suspect until 27th of this month, who aided and abetted former Minister Rishad Baduddin to stay in hiding. It was revealed that the suspect has allowed Mr. Baduddin to hide in his home and thereafter taken to a lady consultant doctor's house by a motor car. That ends local news. An important announcement from HDFC Bank. A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security. Call 0718 800 999. HDFC.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya.
The Minister of Health says that a decision has been taken to restrict the number of patients visiting the Colombo National Hospital due to current COVID-19 pandemic. Accordingly, the patients receiving medicine from the clinics of the Colombo National Hospital are requested to contact the relevant clinics by calling over their landline and mobile telephone numbers. That came to you in main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhaleba.
Moving on to Watchlight, University Grants Commission Chairman, Senior Professor Sampath Amartunga said attention has been paid to conduct university exams online in the near future. He said discussions are ongoing at higher levels to make it fair for every undergraduate. He also said that a specific date has not been decided and discussions are taking place with the university vice-chancellors assessing the pros and cons and the practicability of the online evaluation method. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. The UK plans to be first to run human COVID trials. Former Mexican defense minister is due back in federal court in Los Angeles. Nagorno-Karabakh ceasefire comes under severe strain after new fighting. World news in detail. The UK is pushing ahead to be the first nation to carry out human challenged studies where up to 90 healthy people will be deliberately exposed to COVID. The trials, which could begin in January, aim to speed up the race to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The government is putting £33.6 million towards the groundbreaking work. The plans will need ethical approval and sign-off from the regulators before they can go ahead. Attorneys for Mexico's former defense minister Salvador Cienfuegos were due in federal court in Los Angeles today as prosecutors seek to have him held without bond on charges that he used his power in office to protect a major drug cartel. Cienfuegos, aged 72, is charged with 4 counts of drug trafficking and money laundering. His lawyers may also tell the court whether their client will fight attempts to send him to New York, where the indictment was handed down in a U.S. district court. A ceasefire in the mountain territory of Nagorno-Karabakh was under severe strain today after new clashes between Azeri and ethnic Armenian forces in their deadliest fighting since 1990. The ceasefire agreed on Saturday has had little impact in fighting that began on 27 September, despite concerns it could spark a wide conflict involving Russia and Turkey and fears over the security of gas and oil pipelines in the South Caucasus. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The UK plans to be first to run human COVID trials. Former Mexican defense minister due back in federal court in Los Angeles. Nagorno-Karabakh ceasefire comes under severe strain after new fighting. That ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
The second drug made locally under the program to produce 50% of Sri Lanka's total drugs requirement locally was launched by the State Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Corporation. In line with the National Policy Framework, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, the SPMC yesterday launched its second product, Clopidogrel, to market, and its first set of drugs was handed over to Dr. Saroj Jayasingh, a professor of the Medicine University of Colombo. Clopidogrel is widely used among patients with heart disease, peripheral artery disease and stroke. That ends development news.
When Tati bought a new family car, it wasn't just for the 4 of us.
It's a 10-seater van. Enough for friends and relatives too.
Mummy insisted on building an extra room in our new house.
Well, you never know who'll come to stay. We need more pillows too.
When I was studying late, Nangi would come by to help.
No, I don't know physics, but I do know you need a Munchie Super Cream Cracker.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others.
When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves.
Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Sports News is brought to you by
Munchie Chocolate Cream Biscuit. Chocolate in every bite.
Rugby news. England, Canada and host New Zealand have been confirmed as top seeds for the Women's 2021 Rugby World Cup. Governing body World Rugby based these seedings on rankings from 1st January because coronavirus restrictions have prevented Southern Hemisphere teams from playing this year. Wales have been seeded there alongside South Africa and top-ranked European qualifier. The draw for the 12-team tournament takes place in Auckland on 20th November. The tournament is scheduled to take place in New Zealand from 18th September to 16th October next year, the first time the tournament has been held in the Southern Hemisphere. Golf news. The 2023 Solheim Cup in Spain will take place from 18th to 24th of September. Andalusia Finca Cartagena was already confirmed as host of the event, the first time Spain has staged a match between Europe and the United States. Spain will be the sixth European nation to host the biggest team event in women's golf, as well as 3 days of the build-up play from 19th to 21st of September. The 2023 event will also include the Junior Solheim Cup featuring stars of the future. That ends Sports News.
Hey guys, we've got our very own Queen Bear here to review something for us.
Okay, here we go. It's the right amount of crunch and OMG, so much chocolate. The texture is so good. It's creamy and velvety and just so much chocolate. The packaging is super cool and new and there's like so much chocolate. And OMG, the taste, it tastes like so good and there's so much chocolate. Like with every bite. 10 out of 10 for me.
Munchie Chocolate Cream Biscuit. Chocolate in every bite.
Empower your dreams with NSV Wings. NSV Wings. Recharge the high goals. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The LOLC Group commenced its operations in Zambia recently with the official launch of its inaugural branch located in Lusaka. The company, which will operate at LOLC Financial Zambia Limited as a deposit-taking non-banking financial institution and will provide finance products such as home loans, motor vehicle finance, business loans and consumer loans, among other products. That ends Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. The wait is over and it's time for you to experience happiness. It's time to remap the graph for success. It's time to rebuild your empire. It's time to initiate your entrepreneur dreams. Empower your dreams with NSV Wings. Get your 2-year personal loan for just 7% per annum, starting from 500,000 rupees to 10 million rupees. All you need is just one guarantee. NSV Wings. Recharge the high goals.
Economic news, courtesy of
Just move on real time, save more, LOLC real time. Paying the premium for transactions, simply save now real time. Day night, no trouble for your transactions. LOLC real time. Download LOLC Finance real time app for your LOLC savings account. Attractive interest rates, transactions anytime, anywhere with a zero cost and more benefits.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka as of 15th of this month has approved 61,907 loan applications received from COVID-19 affected businesses. These applications were for a total of 177,954 million rupees and registered under 3 phases of the Saubhagya COVID-19 Renaissance Facility. So far, the licensed banks have released loans amounting to 133,192 million rupees among 45,582 affected businesses island-wide. China has now overtaken the US to become the world's biggest economy according to the IMF's World Economic Output 2020 released recently. The International Monetary Fund, using the more reliable and now widely accepted yardsticks called the Purchasing Power Parity PPP, has determined China's economy at $24.2 trillion compared to the Americans' $20.8 trillion. The PPP calculation method used by the IMF enables you to compare how much you can buy for your money in different countries. That ends Economic News.
Congratulations on your promotion. When will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Finally, on to the weather report. The Met Department says showers will occur tomorrow at several places in western and sub-Brahman provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts. Gusty winds about 50 km per hour can expected in Batticaloa, Trincomalee, Mathura and Hambantota districts and in the western slopes of the Central Hills.